History is often presented as a record of what happened. But what if it is actually a record of what was allowed to survive?
Who decides which stories are preserved and which ones quietly disappear?
Is history written by those who seek truth or by those who hold power?
And when belief enters the story, does history remain history?
Or does it transform into something protected, something untouchable? This question is older than civilization itself. Long before religions took shape, societies were already recording their past. They carved victories into stone and erased defeats from memory. History, from the beginning, was selective. What was written shaped identity. What was forgotten shaped illusion.
History does not begin as truth. It begins as memory, shaped by fear, pride, and survival. Long before religions were written, power decided which memories were allowed to survive. Writing was never neutral. It belonged to those who could afford permanence.
Authority does not ask to be questioned. It asks to be remembered.
Oversake not for one like the end. Over generations, memory hardens, and belief begins to replace evidence.
At this point, history stops being questioned and starts being protected.
Protection is not about truth. It is about stability.
And stability demands silence.
This is where history and belief quietly merge.
Not because they are the same, but because separating them becomes dangerous.
Questions begin to sound like threats.
And doubt becomes the enemy of order.
But history does not disappear. It waits.
It waits in fragments, inscriptions, contradictions.
Waiting for a time when questions are no longer forbidden.
When evidence can speak louder than inheritance.
This moment does not destroy belief.
It simply asks belief to coexist with inquiry. That is where true history begins again.
Not as an enemy of faith,
But as its mirror. Because what survives unquestioned controls generations. And what is examined evolves. This channel does not offer answers. It offers a space where questions can breathe.
Because history under examination is not weakened. It is strengthened. and belief, when unafraid of questions,
becomes deeper, not fragile.
The past is not sacred because it is old.
it is meaningful only when understood. And understanding begins with the courage to ask. This is history under examination. Perhaps the most dangerous stories are not the false ones,
but the ones we stopped questioning.
because once a narrative becomes sacred, examination becomes forbidden. And history silently becomes belief.